I don't know what Dakota is complaining about. There's nothing that about healing that caused you to insta lose. Don't give me garbage feedback, man. It's a very emotional feedback. Yeah, he's emoting. His feedback is emotional at the moment. Time to engage your rational brain and not your emotional brain. I actively do live PvP. Yes, but what you said was if you heal, you insta lose. There's no change that was made that makes you insta lose by healing, and so that's hyperbole, and so it's not useful feedback. You're coming in and just saying something that's that's for dramatic effect. That's not good feedback. Having to getting good feedback out of you is like pulling teeth. I appreciate it when you do it, but it takes forever for you to get past the emotional and start giving me rational feedback. I wish it didn't take as long as it does. Out the sauce is, what if you accidentally get DC because of bad internet? Do you still get banned? I swear, it happens every time I'm in PvP. It's been in the army for 4 years. I love a Valor Sword. You know, reach out to Spark. I did. He said, sorry, here's a gold. Sorry. Sorry, man. Am I surprised that Wiz has been somewhat alive for the last 13 years? No. And how long do you think Wiz be receiving updates for? For as long as we can, right? I would say that I have always been more optimistic about it since I've been working on it. And I can say that it's doing better since I've been on the team. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to sound like I'm responsible. It has done better in recent years. Clearly, there's a big sale as well. So, can crit system be reverted or changed? Anything could happen, but I don't have a reason to want to do that. So, I gotta ask because I just went through it. Is there a reason as to why the participation trophies are still involved with revered crafting? I'm not big into PvP right now, and I'm just not good. So it isn't fun losing every match. I don't like the way that those are done either. Those participation trophies predate me. I would say that with the launch of Fifth Age, right? Um, Probably we'll take a look at those participation trophies as part of that. DC glitch fixed yet? It is not fixed yet. It is in the process of being fixed. I asked our programmer about that yesterday. He also is back. Not everybody is back this week. Some people took an additional week, at least an additional week off for the holidays. PvE strat's going crazy right now. You got to tell me what you mean by that. Don't say PvE strats. If you have some in mind specifically, you have to tell me. That's way too open-ended. Any plans on making Wiz available on mobile? Yeah, this is not the place to ask that kind of question. Sorry. I'm so happy Balance is basically the worst school right now. I don't know that that's true, but I think they're going to get nastier when the Balance of free change happens, which will be in coming soon. I've tested the cinematic; it's all working. That triple hit is going to be unfriendly. Floyd says, "I know it's a weird topic to talk about, but is using cheat engine to go faster disallowed? It sure is. This is the apparently this is the time of day where I have to tell people that using third party software like that is bannable, and if you value your account, I personally do not recommend doing it. Trap stack myth is the biggest issue in rank right now. Okay. Is the DC exploit bannable? It is an exploit. It is clearly an exploit. Did Oni's projection get fixed? Yes, I fixed it yesterday. It's not in game yet, but it was an easy fix. So with Shads being unenchantable, are pre-enchants ever going to come back? Maybe. The answer is maybe on that. Hadar says, I'd rather see a fix to an exploit before seeing exploits get banned. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Both things can happen at the same time. You know, if you're exploiting, you're exploiting. Are the TC heals coming back? Probably. Are healing Maycasts going to be allowed in PvP again? Probably not. Why should matches be timed or limited? Who cares if matches take a long time? Players care. And therefore we care. Lobular Rogue says, I think you need to take out the boosters and door lords at the top of the leaderboards first. We sure do. The door exploit will be fixed. Will be fixed before Fifth Age. I think dooring is almost as big of an issue as the DC exploit because you get twice the rank. It's been there for over a year. It's been there more than a year. Easily more than a year. It's also easily detectable. It's also easily detectable. I mean, it shows up in your rank. It's not like you can hide it. So, sorry. Beta Trooper says, why won't timer exporters be banned? I've never said that they wouldn't. I haven't said one way or the other. I have said that if you are exploiting, you're putting your account at risk. You are rolling the dice. I don't want to specifically pick on Sauce. He just happens to be the loudest voice by virtue of his platform. But he is by far not the only person complaining about Steelboard. Don't put that on him. right? Lots of players complain about Steel Ward. I have two main opinions on it that haven't really changed. One is, you know, if a player playing a Steel Ward against you means you lose, then you are way too reliant on a tower shield at a specific time. You're overly relying on tower shield. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an issue. In fact, you're over relying on a tower shield TC because you can always Aegis a tower shield and that solves your Steel Ward problem, right? Steel Ward is only powerful because tower shield is a staple. Clearly, with the Rochambeau, putting up 2 shields is a problem if they have the spell. And right now, everybody does. But after a certain amount of time, people stop playing the dual shields. And then people might say, well, nobody uses dual shields anymore, so maybe I don't need to pack the shield counters for my Rochambeau. And then when that happens, people go back to using the dual shields again. And so it creates an ebb and flow in the meta where you can't, where there's not just one style of play. It becomes less like a chess match and more like a card game. You know, the best players will be the players who are most often able to adapt to what their opponents are doing. I'm unsure if this is beating a dead horse, but will the Rochambeaus ever not go through Aegis? It's not beating a dead horse. It doesn't come up that often. I am certainly persuadable one way or the other on that. I could have a conversation with Artie about that, see how he feels about it. I mean, Artie believes that everything should have a counter, but I believe that if the Rochambeaus didn't go through Aegis, then Aegis would be the top of the food chain. And I would prefer that the Rochambeaus be at the top of the food chain. Do we need an Aegis? Do we need a counter? Right? How far down the line do we need to go? At some point, you want to close the loop. I often say I don't care. And players take that to mean I don't care. Of course I care. What I mean is I don't have a preference one way or the other. Death Djinn needs that drain. It's coming. It's coming. Death Djinn has a drain. Death Oni has a drain. So all the Death Gambits will be drains. Please tell me you'll at least be changing how the Blade Gambits work. If you're referring to the Blade Gambits counting and using the blade, the answer is no. That's why Death Oni does so little. It's supposed to be a drain. Well, it's actually going to do less as a drain. So it will be a 6-pip drain. So it will do 500. Would you consider making the Life Gambit more viable to go for the Gambit? It's already viable to go for the Gambit. It's very viable. Would you consider changing your playstyle to go for the Gambit? Counterpoint is it's not Storm running away with things. It's Death Gambit running with it. Having a 9-pip spell, and this is the first time I've heard it. Having a 9-pip spell that kills you is better than 11-pip spell that kills you. Since they both get about 4 buffs each, they do insane damage, and they both usually end the game. Good. Gambits are supposed to end the game. I mean, you can make the argument. You can make the argument that Death doesn't need the Gambits to be drains at all because they end the game. Gambits are designed to be game-ending spells, right? It's not always true. Like the 7-pip ones aren't generally going to be strong enough to end the game unless you use them at the right time, or maybe players are waiting for. Are not using Gambits as openers. They're using them as finishers, which is what you should be doing. Jen's going to be busted with the drain on how it works right now. Okay. Great. So Death gets to be good for a while. Again, nobody's been coming to me saying that Death is currently running away with things. So plenty of Death Wizards, myself included, prefer straightforward damage on Death spells instead of drains. I hear you, right? That's the argument I'm making. And when they worked drains, they had more damage, right? Drains are 8/9, or I can't remember exactly 8/9 or 10/11. I think it's 8/9. Drains are 8/9 of the damage of a normal spell. So you lose damage by making it a drain. There's some value, I think, to having them be versatile in that way. If they don't kill, at least you're making the delta between your health and their health is dramatically changed. You can make an argument that something is not fair. Like, let's just say, for example, it's not fair that Life's heal per pip is so much higher than everybody else's. Or you could say it's not fair that Storm's damage per pip is so much higher than everybody else's. Like, why is Storm's damage per pip so high and my damage per pip is so low? That's a fairness argument, which is basically just saying, out of context, I'm comparing these two things, and this person has something, and I don't, and so therefore it's unfair. Now, I'm not saying you were making that argument. I'm just saying that a fairness argument is when you compare two things that don't look the same without any context to what they're actually doing. The balance argument comes in where you say, well, okay. Yes, it is true that Storm's DPP is higher than everybody else's DPP, but is it balanced? Well, it's balanced in the ways their accuracy is lower, their health is lower, right? And so, like I said, the same thing I'm essentially saying the same thing may be true of the Blade issue, right? Which is the fact that the Blade Gambits have this additional little perk to them makes them a little better, which seems unfair, but it may not be unbalanced. That's what I'm saying. And I'm hearing the chat say, "Well, no, it certainly is because the Blaze Stackers are gonna run away with it." So, Lemon Sun Drops is all this PvP talk is confusing. I just decorate houses. You're awesome. We love you guys. And just for those of you in the chat who are wondering, there are more players engaging in the housing side system than there are PvP players. The PvP folks have a greatly inflated sense of their own importance. So, new arenas win. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Y'all don't need new arenas. Let's be honest, you don't need them. So, any new arena you get is just gravy. Count your blessings. New Beastman maps would be nice too. Stephanie says, "Do you have a way to track people who door or no?" Yeah. Yes.